Well, now we're down here, and he doesn't have enough air to get back, and he's barely got enough air to get up. So I get him about here at his decompression stop, and he's huffing it up like an air hog, and he's got like 250 left, and I've got like 1,800. And by the time I get him to the surface, we had floated in the water column so far in this current that we're like 3/4 of a mile from the boat. So we get up and the boat looks like a rice kernel on the horizon. And Cuba's our next destination, you know? And I'm going, so it's no wonder how these guys die. Had he gone in, he would have died. Okay? Just a sport diver. That's how fast it happens. Whammo. They don't count. They don't think. They just, it's crazy. All sorts of wrecks. All sorts of places. All eerie, all compelling. We've been in all of these. Fascinating pictures. A lot of these, if not all, are on our websites. Now, what kind of paranormal activity do we find? Sound, light anomalies, and odd cryptozoologic phenomena. Sound travels 50 times faster underwater than land. You can't go down and say, I heard a voice, because you did. You need to sample it with the right kind of gear and then figure out what kind of sound profile it meets. Because somebody standing in a boat hull 5 miles away speaking down into the boat, down like this, is going to send that sound into the water miles away, and you're going to hear them speaking. You've got to be very, 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 very careful. And you've got to do a lot of analysis, an awful lot of analysis. But yes, we hear voice, yes, we see things, and it takes a lot of groundwork to get there. The hinge from the front door of that home, that was the first smoking gun. Found out at the lunch break, went back, found the whole rest of the house from there. Another part of the house, one of the beams from up in the attic. Ship's cargo holds looking up. The ship was not haunted, but it had some haunting photos. Very neat. I couldn't resist but to take this one. This place is haunted. We find a lot of things. You can poke through a lot of these ruins. A friend of mine just found 2 crates of Aunt Jemima, or log cabin syrup bottles. Log cabin syrup from 70 years ago in a freighter that went down. We're going to go back and get them. Because I Googled their value, and the oldest ones that you can find are only 50 years old. And these are 70 plus. We got 2 crates of them down there. Pretty neat. Cryptozoology! Okay. What is this? Oh, it's not just a pig. It's the dreaded Caribbean pig. It's so big, it's gonna, you see that yacht right there? It's only that you can eat it in one bite, look at that. Okay? We have to deal with this kind of stuff every day. It's not easy. You know, this guy, he's still out, he's still looking for me. They're ferocious. But cryptozoology, that's crazy. This thing's called, actually there's a fish called a hogfish, and I show people this picture and say, you want to see our hogfish? And they're like, yeah. But, yep, that's cryptozoology for you. Some more cryptozoology of a different matter. Now, on this dive here, this is a cavern dive. Okay, this is one of the dives where we saw the mask. Or rather, the dive where we saw the mask. This is during the operations to where the guy died. He didn't have a lot of this stuff. He was just down there diving. I think he had a flashlight. That's crazy, isn't it? You know, it's tragic. Same thing, we set up tripods just like you do on land, different kinds of cameras on top. You gotta weight them down or they float, believe it or not, because cameras have air in them. You gotta use bean bags on them. I'm gonna rotate through these here. I'm gonna show you muddy water, see the green? We work in low light. This is when we find cars in low light conditions like this. More cavern, it's easy to get lost. Super, super. This is ascending from the cavern where the scream was, looking down. That's the line. Do you see that line right there, that cable? That's the line that you go on and up, or down and up. And I turned, and there was screaming below, way below. More cavern. We do a lot of cavern diving. We're in caverns. I know Billy's going to be in caverns all next weekend, right?
Yep.
Which caverns? Yeah, lots of caverns. Really important. Same dive, coming to the surface after I caught the photo. This is the same off the same drive, coming to the surface again. Let's see, almost to the top. Bermuda Triangle, very interesting. Microcells with cloud bursts come out of nowhere in a second. You guys have all seen this in the Midwest when it happens in the water, in 10 feet of water, creates these gigantic, sharp, short interval waves, can flop the boat over very quickly. It's most likely what happens there. Same thing, you get these swirls. We were there, it was really nice. I was up in the top deck having a drink. All of a sudden I looked up and there's swirls around me. It's almost like a tornado. These things pop out of nowhere, these microcells, and they can sink a boat. It's not paranormal, it's just weird. Now, this is the shot of the mask. Can you guys see it? I can't see from where I am. Okay. Yeah, the lights are. That would be great if you guys could do that. It's very okay. Now, okay, you see the mask now? What that is it's the bezel of a mask turned sideways. It's the side shot of his mask. You can see where it goes over the bridge of the nose. It's the side shot looking at him that way. It's fascinating. When you look at it on the less grainy image, you can see it a lot clearer. Like on this image, it's very clear. You can even see the back strap behind it, just floating in the middle of nothingness. Really weird. Don't know what to tell you. That's what we see. It's very, very fascinating. It's enough to keep us coming back. It's enough to keep us doing it forever. And with the combination of the camaraderie and the excitement and adventure, I always say it's Johnny Quest and Scooby-Doo mixed together. It really, really is. It's the future of what we do, and we're going to continue to do it forever because every place you go, as you can see, it's everything from Ponce de Leon to buried treasure to God knows what in the deepest caverns. Bowels of shipwrecks, there's always something to find. And there isn't a time we don't go down there where we don't bring something up with us. So it's pretty darn fascinating. Now, please check our website, paranormaldivers.com. It's really neat. You guys can Facebook, friend us. We are instructors, dive masters. We're all really involved in NAUI and continuing ed, which is important because for people to be interested in what we do, you have to start out somewhere. You definitely have to. Now, do you guys have any questions?
You guys just keep the artifacts you find?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question.
We do keep what we find, yes.
Is there a difference between water pressures in saltwater and freshwater?
Yeah. Your atmospheres are different. They're about a foot or two separated apart. Your water's denser in saltwater. So you have different atmospheric characteristics, even at altitude as well. And those, yeah. So you've got, your atmospheres are 34 feet fresh because you've got to add a foot of fresh water to add the weight that the salt adds to the water. And you have to calculate that. We dive a lot of fresh water. And then there's brackish water, which is a big problem. Thank God it's not too deep. But
Those of us that don't know what that means, brackish water.
brackish water is a combination of fresh and salt. Brackish is like what we have where I live. My backyard's brackish. It's a combination of the salt from the Gulf and the water from the Caloosahatchee, which is fresh river water. Very much like the inlet of the Nile River where it hits the ocean. and out of the outlet rather. And what happens is that the two waters mix, and you get plant and animal coexistence that's really unique. For example, I have sharks and alligators in my backyard. I have manatees and dolphins in the backyard. Okay, crabs and turtles, bluegills, and saltwater fish. They all largemouth bass and redfish. So they all live together in this brine of the right on the edge. It's really kind of neat. And brackish is, where the mangroves are, and a lot of the pirates lived in, they were in brackish water. Yeah. Do you guys have any more questions? Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate your coming. It's important that you guys keep this alive and then you come on out, and we really appreciate it. It really means a lot to me and the team.
Thank you.
Thank you.